Supporting your triathlon training with a good balanced diet is essential for your performance. Today, I'm going to be looking at which superfoods can give you that natural boost. Let's start by addressing the term or word superfood. Now, many nutritionists actually shudder at the thought of that word because there is no one singular food that can give you that amazing boost that can make you a better, faster, stronger athlete overnight. It is about a combination of various nutritious foods combined with a training plan that will make you a better athlete. That said, some foods pack more of a punch when it comes to their nutrient values than others. It is these nutrient-rich foods that are thought to actually be more beneficial to our overall health. But before we go into the foods that I've chosen, I had to obviously cap it somewhere, and I couldn't include every food that's good for you. And I did some research, spoke to some experts, and I have chosen my 11 favorite superfoods. Starting with eggs. The standout reason for eating eggs is for their protein content because they contain all of the essential amino acids and they're easy to digest. Now, on top of this macronutrient, they've also got vitamins, minerals, omega-3, and antioxidants. Well, all of this combined makes them great for muscle synthesis and recovery. Well, one of the important parts for me about the egg is that it's convenient and it's cheap. Now, admittedly, much to my colleagues' disapproval, I do quite often have a hard-boiled egg in my bag, which comes out for a mid-morning snack. But if you don't want to upset your colleagues, there's so many other ways in which you can include eggs into your nutrition. A great way is to make a Spanish omelette, so you can have it hot in the evening and maybe make a large one and then use the other half for breakfast if you're on the go the next day. It's also a great way for using up all the contents in your fridge. Right, next we have kale. Now, this one does get some mixed reviews, but it's certainly become pretty fashionable in the last few years. And I remember as a child actually hating eating kale and my parents now laughing at me because I include this in quite a lot of my meals. Well, this comes from the cabbage family and it's really high in vitamins A, K, B6, iron, and calcium. This super green food is full of antioxidants, carotenoids and flavonoids, which are great for the anti-inflammatory process, something really important for athletes because we put so much stress on our bodies. And talking of putting stress on our bodies, we also need a higher amount of calcium and iron. So it comes in really handy for that, especially for female athletes and those who maybe don't eat meat or dairy. So you might be wondering how to make this vegetable exciting or tasty. Well, recently I actually experimented with putting it in the roasting oven with a bit of coconut oil and some almonds, which toasted nicely and it came out really crispy. Another option is obviously steaming veg or boiling it. But if you do cook it this way, just try to keep it to a minimum because you don't want to lose those vital micronutrients. Next up, we've got the humble root vegetable, the beetroot. Well, this has increased in popularity recently, partly because of its high antioxidant level in the form of anthocyanin. But more recently and more significantly for sport, it is because of its high levels of nitrate. Now, studies have actually suggested that consuming high levels of nitrate can help with athletic performance, especially when it comes to endurance athletes. This veg has become so popular that you even see it popping up in cakes, although I would not recommend trying to get your nitrate quantities out of a red velvet cake, for example, because the amount of cake you'd have to eat to get enough nitrate would certainly cancel out the benefit there. But there are so many other ways in which you can use this veg. You can pop it into other bits of baking, but probably best kept as a savoury dish, either roasting it, you can grate it in salads, or add it into smoothies and juices. Another root vegetable, the sweet potato. Now, this one has a lot more health benefits over the bog standard white potato, one of which being the fact that it has plenty of fiber and slow releasing carbohydrates. But on top of that, it also contains beta carotene, giving you vitamin A. It also has plenty of vitamin C, so it's packed full of antioxidants. They also help to lower blood pressure, and they're a great food for athletes because they are so packed with vitamins and minerals. They include the likes of potassium, iron, manganese, and copper, all vitamins that athletes are quite often susceptible to lacking. And the latter two, copper and manganese, are great for healthy muscle function. Well, again, how to use this root vegetable? There are so many simple options. Roast it, mash it, slice it and have it fried with breakfast, or you could even put it in brownies, although I'd suggest keeping that one to a minimum. One of the most convenient foods from this superfood list is the humble banana. It not only comes in its own environmentally friendly packaging, it also packs a punch nutritionally. Well, it's full of potassium and vitamin B6. They'll keep your blood sugar levels more stable, as well as replenishing your carbohydrates, as well as actually aiding digestion. So it's no wonder that we often see cyclists with bananas in their back pockets, and at races or other events, you have bananas chopped up as part of a snack. And these are one of the easiest things to incorporate in your food. You can pop them into smoothies, chop them up in your cereal. You can even experiment a little bit, and I've been making some ice cream with them, freezing them, adding a bit of milk, and then blitzing that, and it's a pretty yummy but healthy dessert. The perfect recovery drink. Milk. You cannot get away from the health benefits of cow's milk. Now, sports recovery drinks have a ratio of 3 to 1, 3 parts carbohydrate to 1 part protein, which is designed for optimal recovery straight after a workout. Well, that's exactly the same ratio that you find in milk. On top of this, it's also got high levels of calcium and vitamin D, essential for healthy bones. And especially with doing triathlon, running, we're putting a lot of stresses and doing micro damage to our bones. So calcium and vitamin D are needed in abundance. Milk is the obvious food for calcium and vitamin D, but it also aids hydration. But if you don't want to drink it, then you can look at other dairy products to get those micronutrients, such as yogurt, creme fraiche, cheese, cottage cheese, the list goes on. Not the sexiest of superfoods. Next, we have whole grains. Now, these have been raved about the last 10 years or so, mainly because of their low glycemic index, or GI, which means they've basically got very slow releasing carbohydrates. But there is so much more to this group of grains. Foods such as brown rice, whole wheat pasta, barley, and quinoa, like I have here, are also high in fiber and protein, which makes them great for sustained energy release, as well as slowing down your digestion. And the fiber is also thought to help maintain good gut bacteria. Today, I have specifically chosen walnuts because this is the nut that actually has the largest percentage of omega-3s, as well as having vitamin Bs and vitamin E. On top of this, it's got selenium, zinc, calcium, and iron all packed into this little nut. And something we haven't really mentioned so far are fats. Now, all nuts contain good fats, and monounsaturated and polyunsaturated fats. So all in all, it makes this little walnut great for brain health, as well as helping for physical recovery from training. This next one is cocoa. And before you get too excited, no, I'm afraid I'm not talking about the chocolate confectionery that you might find at your local supermarket checkout. Cocoa is actually full of antioxidants, which is great for your cardiovascular health, as well as defending against free radicals. It also contains high levels of magnesium. And I found a study recently, well, actually quite a few studies, suggesting that having high levels of cocoa can actually help protect your skin against sun. But I'm not suggesting that you replace eating chocolate for your sun cream. Right, let's set the record straight as to what I'm talking about when I talk about cocoa. Well, it is the purest form of cocoa. So when it comes to chocolate, for example, you want to find a dark chocolate that says it has a high percentage of cocoa or cocoa. So for example, this dark chocolate here is 85%. I'm gonna have to try some of that later. Or you could go for something like cacao powder, which again is full of all the same benefits. And this you can use in baking, or you could even use it in savory dishes and sauces. Right now we've got chia seeds. These are dense in nutrients. They've got protein, fiber, calcium, and iron, as well as having high levels of antioxidants, which actually surprised me, plus omega-3. You can obviously get them in seed form, or as we have here, the milled version. But it's worth noting as well that flax seeds, or otherwise known as linseeds, these have very similar nutritional values, but usually find they come in a little bit cheaper, so a great alternative. Now, I'm not a nutritionist, but I would say that anything that is this rich in colour is pretty likely to be packed full of goodness and nutrients. Well, the cherry is no exception. And one of the selling points of the cherry is the fact that it is full of antioxidants, so works really well as an anti-inflammatory. And athletes and sports nutritionists have been experimenting with cherry juice, actually having higher concentrates of the cherry shot to help aid that anti-inflammatory process. The hardest part for this video was actually narrowing it down to just 11 superfoods. foods. But as I mentioned at the start, incorporating all of these foods into a healthy, balanced diet is the best way to get the benefit from all of the different nutrients. And admittedly, some of them do overlap, so it is going to be a matter of trying out what you like and also something that you're realistically going to include in your everyday cooking on a regular basis. But anyway, enough talking of this food. I think it's time I went and did some baking, got my fingers a little bit dirty, and you might be feeling inspired to go and do so as well. But before you do, make sure you hit the globe to subscribe, hit the thumb up button if you've liked this video, and if you are interested in how you can get some of these vitamins or minerals from a supplement form, we've actually done a video looking at 5 supplements for triathlon, and you can find that just here. And Mark recently made a video looking into whether you should train when you're ill, and that's just here.